There's a headphone amplifier that costs $99. It was designed by an engineer who previously built $15,000 digital audio processors for mastering studios in the 1990s. His name is Mike Moffett. He has about 40 years of hi-fi engineering experience, and his company deliberately chose a name that no major retailer would ever put on a shelf. That amp and a matching DAC together cost about $200. On measurement benches, that $200 stack outperforms setups that cost 5 to 10 times more. Not by opinion, by data. Signal-to-noise ratio, total harmonic distortion, channel separation. Every metric that actually matters when you are listening to music. The audio industry has spent 50 years training you to believe that price equals quality. That a $2,000 DAC must sound better than the $200 DAC. And in a few very specific cases at the absolute ceiling of the market, that is still true. But in the range where most people actually buy, somewhere between $100 and $1,000, the relationship between price and performance has completely collapsed. Today I am showing you 5 audio brands that the industry ignores on purpose. Not because they are inferior, because they are too cheap to generate the margins that keep the marketing machine alive. Before I get into the brands, you need to understand one number. When you buy a pair of speakers from a major brand, somewhere between 40 and 70% of what you paid never touched the product. It went to the marketing department, the magazine ad, the dealer markup, the distributor markup, the regional sales rep, the trade show booth, the celebrity endorsement. That is the marketing tax. And it is why a Bowers & Wilkins 600 series bookshelf speaker costs $1,200, while a comparably engineered speaker from a company you have never heard of costs $300. The 5 brands on this list have all made the same deliberate choice. They sell direct. They skip the magazines. They skip the retail chain. And because of that, the audio press, which survives on advertising revenue from those same premium brands, pretends they do not exist. Yes, that is the actual name. Spelled Schit. The founders chose it specifically so that big box retailers would refuse to carry their products. That decision alone tells you how this company thinks. Schiit was founded in 2010 in Valencia, California, by Jason Stoddard and Mike Moffett. Stoddard came from Sumo and Forte Audio. Moffett is one of the original engineers behind Theta Digital, a company that made reference-grade digital processors for mastering studios. Between them, roughly 80 years of hi-fi engineering experience. Their entry-level stack is the Magni headphone amp and the Modi DAC. Together, brand new from their California facility, that costs about $200. This stack has been the default recommendation on Headphone, the largest audiophile forum on the internet, since 2013. Mastering engineers use it as a reference in budget studios. Reviewers have tested it against setups costing 10 times more and found the difference marginal at best. The reason it stays cheap is simple. Schiit manufactures most of their circuit boards in Texas and California. They sell exclusively from their own website. They have never paid for a magazine review in their company history. The audio press, for the most part, pretends they do not exist. And that is exactly how Schiit wants it. Topping is based in Shenzhen, China. Starting around 2017, they did something that made the traditional hi-fi establishment genuinely uncomfortable. They started applying lab-grade measurement standards to gear priced for hobbyists. Their DAC, the E50, costs around $250. On every objective measurement, signal-to-noise ratio, total harmonic distortion, channel separation, jitter, it outperforms digital-to-analog converters from companies like Chord and even some from Schiit that cost 5 to 10 times more. This is not opinion. This is measurable data. A website called Audio Science Review, run by a former Microsoft engineer named Amir Majid-Ahmadi, has become one of the most influential voices in hi-fi by publishing nothing but measurement charts. Topping consistently sits at the top. Brands that charge 5 times more sit at the bottom. The audio establishment hates this because it threatens 50 years of mystique-based marketing. The matching headphone amp, the L50, adds another $200. That is a $500 stack that on a measurement bench beats systems, costing well into 5 figures. You will not see Topping at Best Buy. You will see them on Amazon and AliExpress. That is the trade-off. This is where things get strange, because Wharfedale is not some scrappy newcomer. They have been making speakers continuously since 1932, over 90 years. Founded in the Wharf Valley of Yorkshire, England by an engineer named Gilbert Briggs. In the 1980s, Wharfedale was a household name in Britain, the entry-level standard before you stepped up to brands like KF or B&W. Then in the late 1990s, the high-margin brands pushed harder. Retailers stopped stocking Wharfedale because the markup was too low. The audio press stopped covering them because they were not paying for ads. The brand disappeared from the mainstream conversation. It never disappeared from the forums. Go onto any audiophile community today. Ask for a speaker recommendation under $500, and Wharfedale Diamond will come up within the first 5 replies. Every single time. Their Diamond 12.1 and 12.2 bookshelf speakers cost between $300 and $500 a pair. Woven Kevlar cone woofers, soft dome tweeters, cabinets that sound dead when you knock on them because the damping is done properly. The current parent company, IAG, also owns Quad and Mission, 2 other historically important British brands that get the same silent treatment from the press. SMSL is another Shenzhen company that has spent a decade producing DACs and amplifiers that compete directly with American and European gear, costing 3 to 5 times more. Their flagship DAC, the SU9, costs around $450. It uses an ESS Sabre 9038 Pro chip, the same chip used in DACs from companies like Benchmark and several brands, charging $2,000 and up for similar implementations. The matching amplifier, the A300, is a Class D design putting out around 160 watts per channel. An equivalent Hagel or NAD integrated amp runs between $1,500 and $3,000. On the Audio Science Review Forum, members have documented entire reference systems built around SMSL gear that outperform setups, costing $50,000 on the measurement bench. The catch, if there is one, is service. If something breaks, you are shipping it to China. Most users report that the gear simply does not break, but it is worth knowing. This one sounds too good to be true. Aiyima makes tube hybrid amplifiers that start around $60 and top out around $150. These are not full vacuum tube amps. They are hybrids. A small tube in the preamp stage, typically a Russian or Chinese 6J3P, adds the warm, slightly colored sound that tube amps are famous for. The power stage is solid state, usually Class D. What you get for $60 is a desktop amplifier that sounds surprisingly close to vintage Macintosh or Marantz gear that sells used for thousands. The catch nobody in the YouTube reviews tells you is that the tube quality varies between units. Many users replace the stock tubes with new old stock Soviet-era tubes from eBay for an additional $30 to $50 and report a substantial upgrade. For around $200 total, amp plus tube swap, you have a desktop amplifier that punches at the level of gear, costing 10 to 20 times more. It will not drive a pair of Magnepan planar speakers, but for bookshelf speakers in a normal-sized room, what these amps do at this price is genuinely shocking. 3 things. First, check whether you are buying from the manufacturer's official storefront on Amazon or from a third-party reseller. Official storefronts honor warranties. Third-party resellers often do not. Second, look up the warranty terms before you click buy. Most of these brands offer 12 to 24 months of direct warranty if you register the product. Skipping that step can leave you with a paperweight. Third, accept that you will never see these brands in a Best Buy or a high-end audio salon. That is not because they are inferior. It is because the retail model that supports those stores requires margins these brands deliberately refuse to allow. The same direct sale strategy that keeps the price low is the same strategy that keeps them invisible. 5 brands: Schiit, Topping, Wharfedale, SMSL, and Aiyima. None of them household names. All of them producing gear that dollar for dollar embarrasses the brands you have heard of. The marketing tax is real. The brands that refuse to pay it are the ones you should be buying. The gear that measures best. The gear that working engineers actually use. The gear that audiophile forum veterans quietly recommend to each other. It is sitting on websites you have never visited, made by companies whose names you cannot pronounce. If a single one of these names was new to you, this video did its job. Next time you shop for audio gear, before you click buy on the brand you saw in the magazine ad, spend 20 minutes on a hi-fi forum looking up what people actually own. That answer might save you $1,000. Like this video if it opened your ears. Subscribe for the next one. I am going after cheap monitor brands everyone ignores, and the hidden gems on that list will make you question every monitor you have ever bought.